It's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. For the spring, so I can plant my white willow tree that's used for medicinal pain control in herbal teas. And I've got down here, I have a baby cherry tree and a baby apricot tree. My cat, who wants to be on the video, it looks like. Hello, Rocco. And then I've got 2 apples over here that are doing really good. So, yeah. So, yeah, you wonder why these trees are in here? Because it was too cold in the greenhouse, that's why. We're having such a cold snap here in Texas that it's crazy that I couldn't even leave my baby trees in the greenhouse. I had to bring them in. A few years back I did a solar panel and like a battery kind of set up out there, and I was able to run a slow cooker full of water, and it kept it just enough heat in the greenhouse to keep everything warm. But we didn't have a winter like we had like this year. It's been really cold. It's been a long winter, it seems like, and I know probably a lot of you have a lot worse things going on than I do, but it's been cold. So this year I got my baby trees. They need to hang out in here in my sewing room, which is like an enclosed porch. So they're going to hang out in here till near the end of March, and then we'll go put them in. Usually our last freeze, the last recorded freeze, and it's usually not this late, is March 21st. But this year, I'm going to wait because it's unpredictable this year. So my baby trees are going to hang out in here for a little while, and I want to make sure I get them out at the farm. I want to make sure they have a good start, you know, without putting them in the ground and then something really cold. Today I'm going to show you how to do what I call faux tatting, or a faux crochet, a fake crochet finish on like a pillowcase. And you might have already watched my pillowcase video when I made pillowcases out of flannel. And then I went and edged the pillowcase with what I like to call faux tatting. And I don't know, this might be a thing, it might not be. I thought I've come up with this when I was a lot younger, when I was in my teens. I just was sort of messing around with a blanket stitch and sort of came up with this, like, sort of, I call it like a fake embroidery finish. It might actually be a thing. I don't know. I never looked it up. It's just something I do because I don't know how to tat, and I don't know how to do. I tried to teach myself how to do like needle and pin lace, and I just didn't have the patience for that. And so this I came up with a long time ago, and I just like to do it like on doll clothes and on baby blankets and stuff. It's just a fun little thing. And basically what it is, it's you blanket stitch the edge, and I have a video on how to blanket stitch, and I'm going to sort of show you again. And then you go around, and in each loop you blanket stitch in the loops. And this one is three layers, or 3 lines of looping the loops together. I don't know, I'm trying to get it so you can see it. And it's just a blanket stitch, that's all it is. And you start on the fabric, and then you do use the loops of that to blanket stitch again, and as many as you want until you get the desired width. When you wash it, it does shrink up, and it's good to iron it afterwards, because sometimes it will curl, depending on your floss. Sometimes it doesn't. I used actually tatting and crochet thread on this, and this one will be a little bit more durable. On the one that I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be just using embroidery floss, and in my past experience that does shrink up a little bit more. And you know, you might after you get done, you might want to hit it with an iron or something. So let me show you the quick blanket stitch. It's a simple, one of the simplest embroidery stitches, and it's used for all kinds of edging and trimming, and you can finish your seams when you're sewing this way if you don't have a zigzag on your sewing machine, or you don't have a sewing machine. So I have the pillowcase, and I've already started it. And what you do is you put a knot. I usually bring it up through the seam on the pillowcase, and you're going to form a loop. And you can use your finger to to hold it out if you want, but you've brought it up and you're forming a loop here, and then you're pulling it tight. So I'm putting my needle into the fabric, and behind it I'm making sure there's a loop here, and I'm going to pull my needle and thread through the loop that I'm holding, and it does help to hold it with your finger like I'm doing, up through the loop, and then pull it tight. And you can see that it starts to do here on the edge. Let me see if I can do a couple stitches here so we can see the edge. Would help if this, I'm doing this variegated pink. It would help if I could get the darker color on the lighter color, but you can see that it starts making like a little edge at the top, and it's like forming little loops at the top. Let me see if I can get this one through here on this darker bunny here. Let me see here. You can see how quickly you can start doing it. Okay, so here you have you can see it's like little lines, and then on the top, let me see if I can use my needle to hold it up. On the top you have all these little loops. So I'm going to go all the way around. I'm going to do this stitch and edge the entire pillowcase. Then I'm going to come back around and I'm going to do this blanket stitch again, but instead of using the fabric, I'm going to be using each of these loops to blanket stitch in again, and that will form like, it's almost going to be like, well, not almost, it does, it makes a net, like a netting. So let me go around and get this top of this pillowcase done, and when I come back, we will start the second row. And okay, I have stitched all the way around and blanket stitched the entire top of the pillowcase. Now I'm ready to start showing you the first row of the faux tatting. So you see there's the loop. Let's see if I can get this here. So in my first loop of my blanket stitching, that I'm just going to pretend like that is now my fabric. And I'm going to blanket stitch through the loop. If you can see, I'm trying to pull it so you can see it. And I don't want to do it real tight. I want to leave it like a loop. And then I'm going to go through the next one. And as I do this, it's like creating a little line of loops. I'm trying to get them like uniform so they're all about the same size. So just go to the next loop. See, you're starting to see like a little row of loops. So what I'm going to do is go around the entire top that I've already blanket stitched, and we're going to blanket stitch this line of blanket stitching just in those loops. Okay, I'm going to do this row and then I will be back. Alright, the second row of little loops, I have gone around and done it. It's all done now. So now I'm going to start on the third row, and it's just same principle. I'm going to go and blanket stitch through the loops of this last row that I did. And the net appearance is starting to gain some like netted fabric now. You're starting to be able to see it a little better. Look at it. So you can see now that we've got like a double row of little loops. So it's actually sort of forming a netted fabric as I go around my pillowcase. And just because I haven't noted, I'm using 3 strands of regular embroidery floss. On the dog pillow with the brown, it was just 1 strand of crochet tatting threads or yarn or whatever you want to call it. Alright, I'm going to go work this line, and when I come back we'll do the third row. And I went ahead and I did 3 rows. And so I'm just going to finish up the last row, show you how to take it off, and show you what it looks like. You can do as many rows as you want. You could, do a very wide piece if you wanted. I just like a little bit on there just for a little bit of a trim. So you can do whatever you want. But okay, so I showed you how we just went around and we just used the loops. Each new loop became like the fabric for like doing a blanket stitch. When you're ready to stop, you're just going to sort of turn it inside out. You can see my rows here. And I'm just going to take my thread, I'm just going to weave it in and out of my rows. And this is also whenever you add, you change in thread and you need to add it, you do the same thing. So it's not very detectable. And then I'm just going to go underneath that for this pillowcase, whatever, I don't know what you're using it, but you just want to find the way that's least detectable. And I'm just going to go in there and do a couple stitches. So you can see the different rows there. And it looks like hand crocheted lace, and I hope that gave you a new way to edge your pillowcases, and it just looks like crocheted lace. So like I said, this might be a thing, I don't know, it's just something I came up with years ago, and I've always done it, and it's fun and I like it, and so I call it faux crochet lace. So I hope I helped you with some fun finishing off of a project. So this has been Angie for Canterbury Trails Farm. Bye.